The following recording took place on the 27th of January 1964 of the spirit of Ellen Terry, an English actress. Ellen was born in 1847 and died in 1928. The medium was Leslie Flint, and this is an edited version. She begins, "Each time I attempt to speak, I am very conscious of the difficulties in conveying one's thoughts under such difficult conditions, and that we're able to speak at all. As I talk, all around me are numerous souls. Some I don't know, others I know well. It's difficult to hold Earth's memories when I have been here for over 40 years. It's difficult to recapture memories and events of the past. One becomes adjusted to one's new life, which is full of interest because much that transpires on this side cannot be picturized in words to you. Each time I come, everything must be brought down to a level of earthly comprehension. So much nonsense has been talked about spirituality, possibly due to numerous references over countless years to biblical sayings of the church, whose comprehension of things spiritual is misunderstood and coloured by things far removed from the reality as we understand the term spiritual. Spirituality is not necessarily religious, and whenever I think back to earthly conception of things spiritual, it's invariably coloured by the interpretation given by the church. Spirituality rarely has anything to do with religion. True spirituality is an escape from religious thought and religious experience. There's much spoken about the spiritual life, and few people know what the spiritual life really means. Until one becomes a spiritual being, one cannot expect to understand what it implies. Here, to be a spiritual person, you have to discard many of the theological conceptions of spiritual life. This is the natural life, and yours is the artificial, and the truly natural life is a spiritual life. We have a natural body, which is sometimes confused with the spiritual body. This is a natural existence, and material life is a power reflection of reality. There is no need for anyone to fear death, no matter how undeveloped that person may have sunk. Over here, there are varying degrees of existence, various planes of development into which every individual finds their place. There is growth and no standing still. There is evolution which passes through phases and conditions. The soul grows in its knowledge and experience. The truly spiritual person is the person who has lost so much of the material and become part of this life, which is vast in its conception. That as one becomes more aware, conscious, and more developed with it, that individual becomes more spiritually grown, conscious, and aware. But not in the narrow sense as the earth understands, but without fear, which holds man to earth when living in the body. There is no restriction placed upon expansion and expression, where you assimilate knowledge and experience, and here you throw off more of the old self and become truly free. Freedom of expression, realization, and thought is truly the spiritual lesson that comes to us all gradually and gives us that spiritual consciousness that makes possible a spiritual life. It's the narrow confines of earth which prevent individuals from becoming spiritual beings. One must have absolute freedom of expression in the highest sense to be able to discard all that is of the material which holds one down and prevents one from expressing and expanding. Anything which prevents human life from developing and growing on earth is bad. Anything that makes it impossible for the human being to have freedom of expression and thought is bad. There's so much that is taught that is untrue. There's so much guesswork given to the people on earth which holds back growth and progress. There is much in the religious teachings which can be traced back to individuals in past ages who used their power for themselves and for that which they felt was good and yet has since proved to be otherwise. Anything that holds back freedom of thought must be bad. I think many people come here with fixed ideas that have been implanted in them through the whole of their existence, often through fear. They have been afraid to express their true feelings and pursue new lines of thought, and afraid to read books which would have helped them, but it had been forbidden to them. Here, their spiritual life is a life of absolute freedom, in which you're able to assimilate all knowledge. Great teachers from other spheres enter the lower spheres to advise, guide, and uplift. There is unity, harmony, and love. There is the wisdom of all time expressed in all manner of ways of peoples, irrespective of any earthly idea of class, creed, or colour. What holds humanity back in your world is clinging to old ideas and religions and the barriers built up by class and ignorance. People are held apart from one country to another because of patriotism and false ideals. We want to break down the barriers that have kept men apart and bring a new realization of God's love, purpose, and a glimpse of what truly is a spiritual life. All lives change as one expands one's knowledge, as one enters into new life on other spheres. We do not have death, but there is a form of death that is a passing from one sphere to another, a greater consciousness and awareness of new conditions and ideals. All this is progression, assimilating knowledge and experience. On the sphere which I exist, there is tremendous opportunity with souls who have progressed through sphere to sphere. We have a wonderful form of existence, and all the time one is experiencing this existence and life. One is conscious of the possibilities which lie further ahead. It's impossible for any soul to describe the spheres that are more advanced, but the souls who have gone into an atmosphere far removed from Earth can never hope to recapture in words and expression that which they inhabit. What constitutes my life is full of beauty and colour that words could experience. There are great cities in which all can be found that are good for the individual. There are great theatres where great plays are performed. Great operas and musicians compose great works, so the great orchestras can play, and many can be blessed by music and the colour which suffuses the whole auditorium during its performance. If only I could depict the colourings of this world in which I find myself now, so far removed from your realisation. Colours beyond description, ever-changing in their subtlety, and giving forth a luminosity so far removed from material ideas. In comparison to the rainbow of the earth, one can see here the colourings of innumerable rainbows, with colourings far more comprehensive in their spectrum. There is a diffuse subtlety of light at times, but never darkness. There's a kind of twilight which is so unlike yours. There's a time for rest, and there is never any need for sleep, but a peacefulness that comes upon us when we feel the need.